start there. Okay. So every 2 minutes, today, we snap as many photos as all of humanity took in the 1800s. So, in the 1800s, and Nancy mentioned that I have spoken at the Ancestry Conference for a couple of years. It took a very long time to take one photo. And it's funny when you look back at those photos, the faces are not even happy. And the reason is because they've been sitting there for so long waiting for the photo to actually take. So you think about how far we've come as a society that we are snapping photo after photo after photo after photo. But it's really sad because those photos back in the 1800s are so valuable because we have that one photo. Well, now we have thousands and thousands and thousands, and we have too many that we're not enjoying them. This is another interesting thought to think about. So do you remember when you had a camera with film? And I clearly remember this because I said I was 10 when I got my first camera. We had 24 pictures, right? So we would be very thoughtful about what we took pictures of because we only had 24 chances. So this is just a statistic that's interesting. So pictures we take today, well, we used to take 24. Now we might take 500 instead of 24. Pictures you develop, well, we used to develop 24, but now we develop 0. And then here's the real kicker. Pictures you look at. Used to look at all 24 of them, right? And if we got doubles, right? So we look at 24, but now what's the answer? How often do you find yourself going back and looking at the photos that you're taking and actually enjoying the memories? Or maybe you're one of those that has all of your important family photos in hard to find places, like a digital hub on your computer. So you've got them there, they're organized, but the only way to actually go see them is if you go to your computer, open up your file folder, find the file structure, look for the folder and the right date, click on it, and then you have your photos. Well, there's a better way now because of technology allowing us to have a system where they're very easy to organize and very easy to find. But sadly, 40% of photos are just left out on devices or in a box or on an auto backup without even being ever enjoyed or seen again. So one thing that is really one of my really big passions is that we are taking the photos, organizing them, deleting the ones we don't want, and enjoying the memories, enjoying the ones that are there. And kind of from an end-to-end circle of taking the photos and what does it look like, we've been talking about the importance of seeing them and sharing them and enjoy them and touching them and feeling them, is I love to print photo books. And so I thought I would just kind of show you a couple of these. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a minute. And then you can set get your view if you want to see everyone on the screen at one time, top right-hand corner where it says view, or that would be gallery, or you could set speaker view. And if you set speaker view, you just see me. So whichever one you prefer. But I would recommend the speaker view. Then you can see close up what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you an example. So my son is a wrestler, okay? And so a couple of years ago was his first wrestling season, and we went to wrestling tournaments every weekend during the winter. It was really wonderful. And of course I take pictures, right? And then they're on my phone. So what I ended up doing is choosing the best ones, putting them aside, and then creating a book so that he could have that book that, has little information about him in the beginning. So I'm telling the stories. And then each tournament would have a different page of photos and the story behind them, right? So now he has this whole book that he can sit down and enjoy. And he sits and he read this all the time. He took it to school for show and tell. It was very meaningful to him. And then I was also able to kind of talk about the season and write a little bit about his personal growth during that time. And this meant a lot to him. Vacation with my family. We went to New York City for Christmas one year. So again, the same thing, except this time, look at all the people that were on that trip and everybody was taking photos. So I had a system to gather photos from everybody. And then we came up and we made this book. So it tells all the memories and all the fun times that we had and the hilarious things that happened that we recorded in there too. And it's a powerful tool. My kids love to sit there and read those books. Another one was when we went to Grand Canyon. Simple way to gather hundreds of photos to put together a book with all of our pictures. So now we're printing our photos. and enjoying them. So those are just a few examples. But I want to show you next the statistic about how important it is that we do that. So parents reported that their children, and this was in the New York Times. I didn't have the information where it was from because I need to go back and look that up, but I just grabbed this real quick for today's call. Anyways, it was reported that children experience increased self-esteem and a stronger sense of identity from looking at printed photos. Also, parents reported that looking at printed photos reinforced positive emotions for their children and also helped the parents feel like good parents too. So it'll make your family members feel good with a stronger sense of identity and make you feel good as well when you're getting your photos organized, printing them, sharing them, and enjoying them. So let's talk about how we can get your photos back into your life so they can be enjoyed, celebrated, and shared with your family today and also for future generations. So Nancy, are we good? Do we have any raised hands, questions to pause at? Okay. Everybody with me? Doing good? Okay. So now I want to turn the attention to you. I want you to think about some things I'm going to ask you. Where are your physical family stories right now? Where are your important things living? These are photos, slides, maybe just negatives, if maybe you don't even have the photos, or maybe it's old video, reel to reel, VHS tapes, maybe albums. Where do you have those items? Is it in a random drawer, a closet? Typically for my clients, it's one big family box that's got all of it just kind of in one box. At least it's in one place. But consider when the last time was that you went through and you looked at those memories and you relived those stories. They can be lost very quickly. So I'm glad that you're here. You probably recognize how quickly those could be lost, whether it's through some type of a natural disaster or something that's not so natural, but is very common. And that is downsizing, disorganization, distraction, and sadly dividing up the family box. And I've been a part of that before. When my grandmother passed away, my mom and her siblings all came to the house. I'll never forget this. Here's the box of my grandmother's photos. What did they do? They divided them out, one for each person. This is you, this is you, this is you. But I'll remember my mom was so sad because she said, I have all the pictures of me, but I don't have any of my brother. And so dividing that up doesn't really help keep the family stories together. That just helps you have your own photos, keeping your story together. So I'm going to show you a system where we can keep the family box intact together and then digitize all of that so that it can be shared online with each family member. Then each family member gets to have all of the photos that are found in that family box. So that's something, those are the physical things. Now let's just move to a second for the digital things. Be thinking in your mind where your current photos and videos are living that you're taking right now. So I know a lot of them on our phone, but in the last 10 years, we've all had cameras. So we had camera cards, flash drives, probably an external hard drive, DVDs, flash drives, and computers. So, we begin thinking about, and, typically when I'm running a whole class on this, I pass out a sheet and you go through and kind of check off where your things are. You can do that in your mind now. You can even make a list. And also think about social media sites, Facebook, do you have photos there? Instagram, other temporary cloud storage services where they might be living. I will say that social media is not a place for saving your photos. It's funny, I feel like I just know that, but every time I teach a class, people are surprised and I'm surprised that they're surprised, but I guess I'm just in this industry. But when you upload photos to Facebook does one thing immediately. They reduce the resolution of the photo to facsimile size. So if you looked at the photo, it'd actually be like this tiny. I know you can't even see that, like a light can barely get through that little square. So small that you really can't do anything with it. It looks great on the screen, but you can't download and print or do anything with it. If you downloaded it, it would be a tiny little square. So Facebook is not a place to save your photos. It's a place to share them and enjoy everyone else's, but you've got to have another place. So if you are going to be gathering your things and bringing them together in one location, like I'm going to help you do, you really want the originals, not the ones from Facebook. Now we can grab all the ones from Facebook and keep those just because you've got your best there, but you definitely also want the original. All right. So then losses let's just talk about digital losses for a minute. We talked about physical. So digital, some of these might surprise you. Okay, computers crash. We all know that. So we need a backup, right? But hard drives, where you might be backing up your computer on a hard drive, did you know they crash too? And USB, the little flash drives, they crash. The hard drives actually have a 2 to 7 year shelf life. So I spent, when my kids were little, I would always move my photos from one hard drive every 2 years to the next hard drive to the next hard drive. And that was very expensive and a pain. And then CDs and DVDs. I like to educate people on this because most people don't know they only have a shelf life of 4 years. But the truth of the matter is they oxidize. So, and they can be scratched. So it is a nice way to view your things if you even still have a DVD player, but it's not a good place to preserve your things. So if you're one of those who already had all your VHS tapes put on a DVD, if you still have their VHS tapes, my recommendation is you redo those again and get them into a digital file because the DVD quality is not going to be good. Also, the camera cards, they can crash. So I'll make fun of my dad for a minute. He keeps his camera cards. So I'm like, this is not film, but he does. He has like a whole box of all his camera cards of all the pictures that he's taken. So, but they can crash too. So that's not helpful and that's very expensive. So that's important that you're bringing those together so we can get those preserved too. And then there's places for online digital and photo storage. I'll talk about that in a minute. But most of that is temporary. And so that's not a good long-term solution as well. And yes, people can pass away without a long-term preservation plan. And that's something that's so important. I have had several dear clients who have passed away. And thankfully, we had been working together and they had things in a pretty good place going forward. But I'm really happy that they did make those plans because determining what happens to your family photos is something that's very important. If you think about all the things you have, your house, your cars, your things, your stuff, what's more important, that or your family memories and your family photos and your family stories and your family history? I think we all would agree that it's our photos that we want to pass on to our children more than anything else, but they're at great risk, especially right now with the way online sharing is set up. And I think we'll talk about that in a minute. Online sharing, like online photo places. Well, I'm going to give you a little background on that because it's important that we have a good permanent home to keep those things and not just Google or Amazon or something like that. I'll tell you why in a moment. But let me just hit this slide real quick. So digital memories are hard to manage. They are it's challenging to keep everything together in one place. It's time consuming to manage. That was something a lot of you all said. And then things are often lost due to disk damage or, a hard drive failure or something like that. So they are at high risk. I would say even more risk than the things in the box. The things in the box have lasted for many years, although it's time to get on those too. But digital can be lost just like that. So it's important to get on that as well. So I'm going to give you a couple steps to take. These are things that you can do to kind of start getting a handle on all of those things. And then I'm going to kind of give you some steps to take of how you're going to get a handle on that. But first thing is time. Schedule time to work on the project. So I oftentimes encourage people to just spend even 15 minutes a day, or if you only can start at 15 minutes a week, start there, but start somewhere. Schedule yourself, put it on your calendar to work on this project. It's really important to do that. It's kind of like exercise. You don't just decide, oh, I think I'll go exercise typically. Typically, it's something that's on the calendar and you know it's coming and you go to get it done. So look at it like that and schedule time to work on that. Weekends are good. Sunday afternoon is good. I'm going to be able to teach you, and again, I'm not doing all of this today, but how to get phone photos organized, right? So all the photos you're taking on the phone, I oftentimes tell people, use your phone 15 minutes a day, keep yourself organized. So number one is schedule time. Number two is gather all of your photos and videos into one place. Bring them all together. I call this the photo fire drill. Go around your house and just start gathering things and bring them all to your desk. One big pile of everything on your desk. That's printed photos, albums, VHS tapes, slides, old devices, old iPads, laptops, phones, reel-to-reel film, computers, everything that you have in your house that's important memory-wise, bring them all together and put them all at one location. Then number three is determine what you're going to do with those things. And I want to talk for just a minute specifically about photos, okay? Because I think that when you're bringing together, for example, your VHS tapes, you can just read on there to decide, do I want to digitize this or not? Because, and let me just go back a minute. The goal, the idea is in order to get things to be preserved long-term and to be shareable easily is to digitize them, right? So the goal is to bring them all together, organize, decide what we want to digitize those things, and now find a place to preserve them online permanently so they can be shared with family members and easily accessed, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about, but I want to speak specifically now to the photos. You know, like I said, the tapes are fairly easy. Either I'm going to digitize it or I'm not going to digitize it. But when it comes to photos, we have tons of photos, right? Especially when we were taking those photos and we got duplicates or even triplicates. So I want to talk about that. It's just a process. It's just time that you're going to put on your calendar to go through these printed photos and make decisions on them. So you could set up a table, your dining room table, to work on this project. You could, I always recommend kind of cleaning it up when you're finished and putting it away, not making this be the dining room of photo organizing for the next 3 months, but just very easily work on your piles for 15 minutes and then place it away and bring it back out. But I'm going to give you a couple tips when you're going through this. First of all, when you're sorting, you're going through, I want you to begin sorting by decade, not by year. That's really important because people can get really hung up, frustrated, and anxious if they don't know the year of the photo. I've watched people really tag in on that. I got to know the year, I got to know the year. And it's okay. Just know the decade. So go 70s, 80s. You're kind of like, you know, dealing cards out with your photos by decade, because it really doesn't matter what the year is when you're this far out. You just want to know, like, what season of life was it? And then when you've got the decades done, you could go back and do, you know, organize the decade by year if you wanted to. But just first pass is by decades. Next thing I want to talk about is the ABCs of photo organizing. We're going to talk about what is important to scan and digitize and what is not. And this is when you're sorting by decade and you're looking at the photo, you can determine if it's an A photo, a B photo, or a C photo. And then that helps you determine if you're going to scan it or not scan it. So an A photo is the best photo. It's like one that you would frame on the wall. It's a beautiful photo. That's the A's. You want to scan those. You want to keep those for sure. The B photos are the ones that are good and they tell the story along with the A photos. So they would be things that you might put in an album, like to look at memories. And they would, you know, depict the story of the event that was there, but they may not be your very best ones, but they're still good photos. The C photos is the garbage can. Those are the ones that throw away, and it's okay to throw them away. So we're going to be throwing away all the duplicates and all the triplicates, okay? Unless you have a family member who might want them, but start throwing all those away. You're going to throw away all the paper products, anything, you know, that is stuck inside of all of the photos, like, you know, the little envelopes, throw those things away. So now we're just getting down to, we've got the A photos, which are the best, the B photos that tell, you know, that are good, that go along with those. We're throwing everything else in the garbage can. And then the S photo, so it's ABCs with an S. The S photo, believe it or not, is the most important of all the photos. Can anyone guess what the S is? I'm not going to make you guess out loud, but be thinking in your head what S could stand for. The S is my favorite photo. It's the story. It's the photo that tells the story. So it may not be an A photo. It may not be a B photo. You might even think it should go in the garbage can based upon what it looks like, but it might be a photo that tells such a story that you've got to keep it. And it's more important to you than even the A photos. And that's definitely one that you want to keep. And I'll give you an example. One of the clients, oh yes, Nancy, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in here because I know we're kind of talking about some of the photo managers' tactics, which is great. Photo managers is an association of photo organizers that Shelley and I both belong to. But one thing too to be thinking about in terms of keep and not keep is toxic photos. So sometimes there's photos that have a really negative association, maybe a broken relationship, maybe, you know, just something very negative. There is no reason to have to keep those. If you look at something and you get a negative charge, a negative reaction or energy, it's okay to let that go because it's not really something that you want to have in an album. So I just wanted to give you permission to discard toxic photos as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy. That is a great one for me to add. Great advice. I like that. And I have stories about that too, but I'm not going to share those. Okay. So back to the S. I want to share a story with you about a client that I've worked for a long time, organizing all of her photos. And I found a photo that I was going to throw away, but I don't ever throw anything away without the client's permission. So I'll put it in a bin where I think it should be thrown away, and then I want them to double check it. So she went through this little photo. I couldn't really tell what it was. And would you know that photo was so important to her because she had a baby that passed away as soon as the baby was born. It was born early, and that was a photo of the baby. And I couldn't really tell because it was kind of blurry, but it meant so much to her. And so that was one that was extremely valuable that we definitely needed to keep. And that's an example of a photo that may not be good looking at it because you can't, maybe it's blurry like the one you see on the screen right now, but maybe that's the only photo that they have of that family grouping before a tragedy happened or something. And so that is the S photo that you want to keep, and you want to be sure that you scan that and you preserve that as well. So again, it's okay to toss bad photos away or toxic photos or duplicates. Start doing that. That's so important because you're going to start feeling this weight release off your shoulders once you pare down all those printed photos to a more manageable amount.
I'm going to jump in here one more time, yeah. Shelley, too. Yeah. Another sort of tactic that we discuss in the photo managers too is if it's a bad photo of you or even a family member. The woman who created the photo managers talks about how her kids make fun of her that they never see a bad photo of her because she will toss them out. She just only wants to have the best and brightest. It's kind of like when you put on a piece of clothing and you don't really feel great in it. That's the same thing when you see a photo that is not real great. So again, if there's that little twinge, that negative association, you have permission to ditch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. But on the other hand, in addition to that, I oftentimes say, like my kids will like, that's a terrible picture of me. And I'm like, it doesn't matter that it's terrible of you. It tells the story. And if I didn't have this photo, then we wouldn't remember this amazing story. And it's more about documenting to me and storytelling than making sure you look perfect in a picture. So both of those things kind of can be played together to make a decision if it's something valuable to keep or not keep. But don't feel like you have to keep everything. Because if you keep everything, nothing has value. And that's kind of where we're all at right now, right? Also, don't forget important documents. So that goes along with when we talk about photos, I'm talking about documents as well. All right, I hope I'm not moving too fast, but in an hour, there's a lot to go, but hopefully this is gonna give you some things to move forward. Okay, so step 4 is to create your long-term photo plan. I talk a lot about a photo plan. You got to make a decision. This is something that's really important. Our photos are some of our most important things. And it's important that we determine where we're going to keep all these. We're going to make a plan for them. We're going to get organized so we can hand them down to our children and feel good about that. So I oftentimes talk about, if I turned my screen around, you'll see my grandmother was a amazing scrapbooker, and she has 6 scrapbooks. They're beautiful, where she in magnetic albums, which are not good for your photos, but where she placed photos and she wrote out descriptions. She even used her typewriter, typed the stories that went along with the photos, and documented the family history. And I have spoken about this a number of times, that she took all of the tools that she had in her generation, and she did what she could do and what she knew how to do to preserve the history, and preserved it for us in this beautiful collection of albums. I feel like it is my responsibility in this generation to take all the tools that I have and preserve our family history and our family stories going forward for future generations. So while those scrapbooks were great then, they're not great now, right? Because they're deteriorating. They can be exposed to flood or fire. They are deteriorating the photos because of the magnetic albums. But yet I can take those things and scan them in this digital age and in the technology generation, and make them digital and shareable online to my family and to future generations. And that's what I've done. But I do feel like it's my personal responsibility to make a long-term photo plan with how I'm going to preserve our family stories. And that's what I am sharing with you a little bit about today. So we talked about a moment ago, I just briefly mentioned some of these online photo storage places. And I'm not going to go too much into this. If you were interested in really learning more about this, I have a 30-minute talk that I did for the photo managers, which is what Nancy's been talking about. So it's a class that I taught, and that's available online. I could even share that with you if you wanted an in-depth, detailed learning about cloud storage. But I'm going to give you the skinny on that, is that basically there are no good places out there for you to preserve your family photos, videos, and family stories online permanently with regards to the typical places that you've seen. Now, I'm going to share with you about Forever. That's what the platform that Nancy and I talked about that we use. And I was actually part of that team for 7 years. But I just want to kind of show you this image and say a couple things. Everything that you see here is either in one of these categories. One, it's free. And so when you have something free, the reason it's free is they own the digital rights to everything that you put up there. And so if you put your things up on a free place like, say, Google, they know that is how they make their money, is data mining. They gather all of your content, whether it's photos or your emails, they scan it and analyze it, and they sell that information to third parties. So that's, as you know, how, if you have photos where your child is wearing Under Armour playing in a soccer game, you're going to get advertised to by Under Armour and soccer, because that's what they've seen in your photos. So you lose the digital rights to your photos when you put it somewhere for free, and you become the product that they sell to other companies. Also, for free places, there's no promise that your things are going to be there tomorrow. So if you read the terms of service, they say this is not your backup, backup somewhere else, because we aren't promising that your things will be here tomorrow. And that even says that in the iCloud. So if you have Apple Photos and iCloud, which I love iCloud, I love Apple Photos, I use it, but not for my long-term storage. They do say in their terms of service that they can suspend or terminate your account at any time. And it's also not transferable upon death. Nothing's transferable upon death. And then the other thing is perhaps you pay. So you're thinking, well, I've got all my stuff in Dropbox. I pay for it each month. Think about what happens when you stop paying, when that payment stops, either because you just weren't able to pay it for a couple months, or something happened and your bill didn't get paid for a couple months, or you're no longer here. That account will shut down and all of your things will be lost. So a quick story about that. When I was out at that RootsTech conference, a man walked by my booth and I was talking to him and I said, where do you keep all your family history? He said, it's all organized in Dropbox. I said, oh, is it going to outlive you? And he just stopped it in his tracks. He said, never thought about that. He spent all these years on family history, never thought about the fact that it's all organized in Dropbox, but when he stops paying that bill, it's all going to be taken down. And I worked really closely with this man for a while, and we got all of his stuff over into Forever, which is I'm going to talk to you about. And sadly, he passed away this year. And it was shocking to me because we were in the middle of the process of working together, and it was really a loss for me, and it was really sad to lose such a close friend who, a client who became a close friend. But I do say I'm so glad that I asked him that question. And he was over the moon that I asked him that question too. And now I feel good about that. And it's a story that I can share because we did help him get his things in a place that would be preserved online permanently for his family and also for future generations. So again, I'm not going to spend much time on this, but I do want to stop and answer any questions that anyone has about cloud storage, because I know that's a topic that a lot of people just aren't aware of. So do we have any questions?
We don't have any questions, but as people are formulating their questions, can you share in 30 seconds or less how the creator of Forever came to this?
Yeah.
Or maybe that's something you were going to share already.
So I think that's kind of where I'm going next, but I wasn't planning on doing that, but I will. So if we don't have any questions, I'll move to that and then I'll explain Glenn as well. Okay, so Forever is what I'm going to be talking to you about. Forever isn't like any other storage site, okay? So it's focused on providing you with a permanent digital home that's going to last for generations. So think about it as insurance for your photos. And the story that Nancy was just asking, I'm just going to share this with you. So Glenn Meekum, who's the founder and CEO of Forever, he actually has a great history in the internet, startup company. He had another one previously where they did internet auctions. So it was before eBay. It's called Free Markets. It's still around. It's just a different name now because he sold it in 2002. But he's has such a brain that thinks ahead of everyone else. And he had that idea when he was graduating from Harvard about internet auctions for business to business. And he created it and built this company online when the internet was just becoming out. And he did great. He sold it for like $200 million back in 2002. And then he was a venture capitalist and a friend, and he's a friend of mine as well. So then his dad was getting older and getting ready to pass away. And he got his dad's box of all the family history, all the family memories, all his dad's accolades, photos, and all of these things. And it was a treasure to him. And he was trying to decide, what am I going to do with this box? He's like, do I buy a safe and keep it in the basement? He's like, no, because I want all the family to be able to see it. And he realized, in order to preserve this, I have to make it digital. I got to digitize all this. And then he thought, where am I going to keep it? I've got to keep it somewhere online so I can share it with other people. But then he realized all the things I just listed. If he pays for Dropbox, it's going to end when he stops paying for it. If he puts it on Google, he loses the digital rights to it. There wasn't a good solution. And that's when he realized, I need to create a digital home for people that they can keep their things online permanently. They can keep them privately, and they can share them with their family members. And the genius behind it is he also sat on the endowment committee of Carnegie Mellon University. And he thought endowment. He thought the way that this is going to work is not to have people pay monthly fees, but for people to own it, for them to buy it. And that's to set up an endowment structure. So it's like insurance. So the majority of the money, when people buy storage, goes into this endowment, and that endowment will pay for the things online over time. So that's exactly what he did. So that's how Forever is set up, with an endowment fund. And it's a fully restricted fund that pays just for maintaining your photos, videos, and documents online over time. So that's why Forever is guaranteed to be here at least 100 years after your death, but we'll be here much longer than that, just based upon the way that this is set up. So here's a couple of things about Forever. And I'll just go over these with you real quick. And you can see each of these things is really a big difference from everything else out there. So it's private and secure. You own the content and the digital rights to everything. There's no data mining or advertising, meaning Forever doesn't own your photos. They don't look at your photos and sell that information to third parties. It's backed up in globally diverse locations and multiple locations. So it's very redundant in lots of different locations. So if something were to happen, like a natural disaster or a war or something like that, and a whole center for backing up the cloud goes down, well, Forever's backed up in multiple locations, so it's okay. Also, it's encrypted with bank level security, so it's safe as a bank as far as your things. I'm not saying that it is perfectly 100% safe, but neither is the bank. You can't really guarantee that online, but it is bank level security. It's easily accessible, so you can access your entire collection right from any web browser or mobile device. There are iPhone and Android apps, so you can access your whole entire library from anywhere on your app, and you can upload and download in full resolution, which is a very big point for a lot of places out there. You can only save it in a small resolution, and you can't get the full resolution back. So that's an important point. And then there's some great sharing mechanisms. So you can set up a private family sharing network, so your family can just come in and share whatever you want to share with them. You get to determine if you want things private or shareable with your family. And then there's unique preservation settings that allow you to control what happens to your content upon your passing. And then you also can have an account manager set up as well. Okay, so a couple other things with Forever. It's a whole entire memory keeping system, as you can see here. There's auto sync, so you can automatically have the photos and videos from your mobile device come into your own private account. Once in your account, you can organize your photos and videos so it's easy to find and share. There's also great, like just getting it into your account is important, because even if you don't do anything to organize it, your digital files will come in with metadata. That means the dates. So you could go into your library and find things based upon the date, or you could say, show me all your videos. So there's organizational tools that are already built in, but you can also go in and do more organizing as well. You can have your outdated media, like your printed photos, photo albums, scrapbooks, and VHS tape, slides, all those things, digitized by Forever Media Conversion Services. So Forever does all that. All you do is you order a Forever box, or get it in the box. It ships by FedEx to Forever. They digitize everything and upload it to your storage account. Now, I will say Nancy does scanning as well, part of her business. So if you have photos, like 4x6 photos, 8x10 photos, she does that for her business as well. I do the same thing here in Pittsburgh. But for the other things, and you know, and if you're not close to Nancy, you can just send those right to Forever as well. And then you can create and print photo books and photo gifts right from your account. So if anybody uses Shutterfly, it's kind of the same idea, with great print projects already available to you. Just pop your pictures in and your photos in. But with Forever, you keep it all together in your account and you own everything. You're not giving things to Shutterfly where they own the digital rights to those things, and they don't make it easy to get your photos back. So that's one other tragedy, is people who have photos in Shutterfly thinking they're safe there, they only can download them 1 or 2 at a time. And so it's really difficult to get your photos back from there. Okay, do I have any questions? And then I'm going to go to some goals.
There are some questions related to iCloud. I don't know if you want to address those now, or okay.
Let's do it.
So, so one is, so I pay for iCloud's monthly storage. Can I lose this too? Once, you know, the conversion to Forever happens.
Oh, okay. So let me just answer that. So yes, if you started getting, like, I'll just say I do pay for iCloud because I back up my whole computer in iCloud. So my contacts, my photos, all that. But I do have a number of clients who are like, I'm done paying for iCloud. So they don't make it easy for you to delete your photos out of iCloud, because they don't really want you to delete your photos out. But you can delete them out. Once you delete them out, you can pare it down where you're not paying anymore, and you start keeping them in Forever. So yes, you can.
And then is there a way to back up or download iCloud photos faster? To download from iCloud is very slow.
You are wise. You are exactly right. It is very slow to download from iCloud. Whether you're going to Forever or you're going to Dropbox, wherever you're going, iCloud doesn't make it easy. They don't really want you to download your entire library. But I do have a system that I teach people to do, but it does take several days, but it's through the Forever app. The best way to do it is through the Forever app, doing a backup on your phone, and you have your iCloud on your phone. But it does take several days to do that, but it runs in the background. So yeah.
And then someone had mentioned, I'm also very Mac dependent and finally got everything organized there. I'm scared about how much effort it is to move it all.
Yeah. So I would just say, awesome that you're using Mac. I love Mac. I use it too. I'm organized there as well. I use the iCloud. I use Apple Photos. I do those things, but I get everything into Forever, and I mainly use Forever, but everything else is just kind of organized sitting there. And I'll teach workflows. These days, we're pretty much just using our phones. So I teach workflows of just bringing the best photos through the app, from your phone, in the app, into Forever. And that's where I go to find photos, to do photos. My iCloud, I use it like for the editing features, or if I'm using something like that, but it just kind of runs there and sits there. mainly I am, you know, using forever. So I guess my answer to that is, don't worry. You're gonna just kind of let the iCloud stuff go and work on its own, and then you're gonna pull out the best of the best to bring into your forever account via your phone app to do something with those photos.
Okay,
So
and I think, oh,
I was just gonna say, so my iCloud and my Mac tends to be like the junk, like the everything, and the A, B, and S photos are coming into my Forever account. So my Forever is my clean, nice, organized, see it, enjoy it, share it, and then the iCloud tends to be trying to just all the other stuff.
that's all we have for now.
Okay, and I do just want to say, if you were wanting to go ahead and start, looking into this and doing the phone app backup, it is something that I teach during the class. However, you can always call Forever support. So Forever has awesome support. You can call 888 Forever, or you can email support@forever.com, and they'll sit there. They're people. You talk to actual people. That's one of the huge benefits of Forever. You talk to a person, and we have an awesome care team, and they'll help you. There's a couple things that you can do on your phone to make that backup go a little bit smoother, and they'll walk you through that process too. Okay.
It turns out there are a couple of questions, and I just
Okay.
wanted to mention something. You had it before, but I think it wasn't elaborated. And this is the thing that really sold me on Forever. In Forever, you designate a beneficiary to your account. So if God forbid something happened to you tomorrow, that person has access to all of your photos that you've organized, and your family memories are preserved. So that's super important.
Yeah.
And then one person asked, how do you deduplicate photos, but not by file name? We have both iPhone. We both have iPhones. So photos file name may be similar, but a different photo. I'm not sure if I understand the question, but what if you have duplicates, Shelley?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll answer both of those. First of all, if you have two different phones and you're saying that there's different photos of the same subject, those are not duplicates. They're just similar photos. So there's no duplicate finder for those. That's going to be manual. You decide which ones you want to keep. But if you have the same photo in two different places, maybe one's on your computer, one's on your phone, and they have the same file name, then when you upload to Forever, it will not take duplicates. You can switch that setting so it will take duplicates, but it's automatically set that duplicates do not come into Forever. But duplicates are true duplicates, not similar photos. So if it's similar photos, that is a manual process. And then if it is digital organization that you're looking for, you can talk to Nancy about that. And that's a whole nother subject. But there are digital organizing services. So you can pay someone to gather everything together, go through and dedupe it all, and get rid of like photos and duplicate photos, and have a clean, organized system to upload into Forever. So it's either manual, you do it yourself, and that's what I'm talking about today, or you reach out to Nancy and she can have a resource for digital organization as well.
And so she clarified her question. My question was, we have two iPhones, the file naming is similar. So each phone may create a file name, image 1111. Does it matter what the file name is, or is it more the content of the date of the file itself?
Yeah, it's the metadata, which is the information that's attached to the photo. So yes, the file name would have to be the same in order to be considered a true duplicate. So Forever would not.
I think what she's saying is, if she uploads and her husband uploads, and there's two photos that have the same file name, but obviously they're different photos, is that going to confuse the system in Forever?
Well, it's not going to confuse the system, but in the duplicate finder, it has to be a true duplicate for Forever to reject the second one. So if Forever does not reject the second one and it's not a true duplicate, they'll both come in. But then when it's in, it's very easy to delete it. You simply just sort by date, and then they'll be next to each other. They were taken at the same time, and just click delete. You can bulk delete too. So it's very easy to delete things out. All right. So, and again, I feel like I don't mean to be rushing you through this. It's a lot of stuff, but I hope I'm painting a picture of a plan of what you could do. So we've talked about your physical and your digital, the idea of bringing them all together in one place, researching a good place to keep them. Of course, we're recommending Forever because that's the only place that's permanent, private, and has those beneficiary rights that Nancy was talking about. one thing I want to add to that is, Nancy, that yes, you can assign an account manager. In fact, you can have several account managers to your account to hand your account down to, but you get to determine what happens to the stuff in your account. There are things in your account that you can mark private that only your account manager could see. And then you can mark things friends and family for your friends and family to see. And then you can mark things public. You could say 10 years after my passing, I want all my friends and family things to become public, because you know, it's going to start thinking a little bit about ancestry, right? So these are information about you, your life, your story. So think 3 generations from now, people are going to want to come back and see who you were as a person, what you enjoyed, and your pictures and your stories. So that's why you might want to end up making your things publicly available at some point. So that's more at another time, but I just wanted to kind of describe that to you. Okay, so I know we're getting close to our hour. I'm close to wrapping up, but I want to just kind of review with you what your 3 goals would be once you got started. You know, my suggestion is using Forever, but you might use somewhere else. But this is what we're going to talk about, because this is a platform that I use. So the first goal is to save. And you see at the bottom, save, organize, through share. So those are our 3 goals. So to save, you on your own can upload all of your digital files yourself. You go to your Forever account, you click the green upload button, and you just start uploading your digital files from computers, camera cards, USB drives, external hard drives, whatever you have, just upload and get it into Forever. Then anything on your phone, you can upload, do the Forever phone app, and then back up your whole phone in here if you want. And you could set to auto sync, so every picture you take comes into your Forever account. Or you can do it manually. You can decide what comes in if you don't want just a whole system backup. So I have 2 clients that do it 2 ways. Some want to back up their whole phone, great. Others, like me, just want to bring in the best, because I take way too many pictures. So I have a system that I teach on that too, but it's basically a manual thing. You can also bring in your Facebook photos. Like I said, they're not great quality, but it is fun to see the best of the best. And you also, if you did that sync, you would bring in any photo you've been tagged in from any of your friends. Those photos come too. So that's kind of fun to see those. And then take a look at your physical things. Scan and convert all that outdated media to digital formats. You can use Forever Services, or, you know, if you have some scanning, use Nancy. But that's a great system. And then they upload that into your account. So now you're organizing, you're getting everything together, and it's in one place. It's in your Forever account. Next thing is, it's time to organize your Forever account. So one of the things that's beautiful is you can tell the stories behind your photos. So, or your stories about a group of photos. So maybe, you know, there's a group of photos you want on a camping trip. You can tell the story about that. And you can do that for individual photos or a group of photos. You can assign tags to photos to identify people, places, things, events. You can create albums to group photos together. You can record dates for, you know, photos that are maybe scanned that don't have a date coming in with them. And then really build your family legacy and tell your family story. And then the fun part comes is when you share. So you can share right from your Forever account, just with a link. You can text it to people, share photos, share a whole tag or a whole album. And then we can set up a family sharing plan so that you have family members who are able to come in your account and see anything that you've marked for them to be able to see. And then you can create beautiful photo books and print projects that we just talked about to celebrate your photos. So that's kind of the full circle. You're getting the mask, getting it organized, and then you're printing to enjoy and to hold on to. Now, Nancy had you all sign up for a free 2 GB storage account. So if you did that, if you put your email address in, you created a password, you got a free account, go to your email next and confirm your account. So once you have it confirmed, Forever's going to give you a $20 coupon. So it's kind of neat because you could create a print project for free with your $20 coupon. But I just wanted to show you what this looks like. So with your free account, you can see where it says intro account, and you can see where it says Forever Storage. So your intro account will let you use 2 GB of space to access all your photos and start organizing it, try it out. You can use the mobile app. You can print photo books, cards, calendars, canvases. There's lots of different things to print. I love the tabletop panel. show you that real quick, because you could do that for free if you wanted to, because it's less than $20. But it's like, it's just a way to print a photo and to say something on top of it, just sits on the table. Now, when you actually purchase storage and you own your account, you buy storage, then that's when you unlock preservation settings, the data migration, moving everything from one file format to the others, and then also being guaranteed for generations to come.
Can you, I know that we'll be on time, and I'm sorry for the people, I know someone had to go, but I want to make sure that this is another thing that sold me on Forever. Can you explain the data migration thing?
Oh, yes.
When technology changes, Forever will convert that for you. You don't have to go pay for a different conversion system.
Yeah, so in the same way that we have to send things to media conversion services to digitize them, like the VHS tape to get them to digital format, once everything's in your Forever account, Forever will automatically migrate your things to new file formats over time. So you never have to digitize things again. Forever, that's part of your purchasing your account. Your account will always be migrated to new file formats, so it can be seen 50 years or 100 years from now.
And also a unique thing about Forever that as compared to the other services you referenced is that you pay one time, and you're not doing a monthly thing. You pay one time. I think it's 53% of that first payment goes to the endowment fund to ensure that
63. Yep.
63 is saved for generations. And then if you pay, let's say for 50 gigabytes or something, and then you get more and more photos because you have a bunch of babies or whatever, you can just add on to your total amount. So you can still add on, but once again, that add-on is just one time for an additional 20 gigs or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. So you just buy your storage and you can just keep adding on when you need more. So that's it. Oftentimes I'll give a little tour of a Forever account, but I know we're out of time. I hope that I was able to give you some really good hands-on things to get you started. But I do have, Nancy, maybe you're going to follow up with an email and you could send my tour of an account to them. If they wanted to see a tour, I've got a video that they could watch on that.
I'll definitely do that. Another chat question came, and it was, how many photos are stored in 10 gigabytes?
Oh, that's a great question. So why don't I show you, why don't I just share my screen, and I'm going to, is it okay if I show you how the pricing works then? I mean,
Sure. And I'm going to actually just, in case anybody has to go, I am going to share in the chat, and I'll send it in the follow-up. I'm going to share a link to the series that you're doing so people can register for that.
Okay, great.
And maybe can I pop in and kind of show that now in case people have to leave?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then we can go back to this. First. Okay. So I'm going to make myself the host and share my screen real quick.
I think I have to do that for you.
Oh, I reclaimed it. I think I'm okay. Good. Okay. All right. So this is the series. It's the Love My Photos series. It's a 4-week. Can you guys see my screen, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. It's a 4-week series. It's going to be at this same time. You could make Saturdays at 9 a.m. for this one. So we figured hopefully you could make Saturdays at 9 a.m. Moving forward. So it'll be a 4-week series. You'll learn how to save, organize, and share your most precious memories from 9 to 10 Hawaii time. And in the chat, I put the link where you can, there's a little bit more in-depth information about the series. You can go and pay. It's normally $39. Through the end of this weekend, it's going to be $29. So you guys get a $10 discount. And then at midnight on Sunday, it will revert to $39, and I'll start promoting it to the general public. I'm not really promoting it just yet. Want to give you guys a chance to register. So that is that, and I'm going to kick it back to Shelley for.
And someone asked in the chat if they would be recorded. So yes, I always record all of them. In fact, it'll be set to record, and we'll share those recordings as well if you can't make one of the classes.
Okay, Shelley, you're the host again.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to spend a lot of time giving you a tour of an account. But I'm going to show you how to get started, okay? If you want to get started in your account, and you could even wait till the class if you wanted to. But here's my account, and I'm going to send you a video of how to use the account. But basically, over here on the right-hand side, there's 3 lines. If I click on that, My box comes out here where I've got information about my account. And so I could go to library, to my albums, to my tags, my print projects, my friends and family. Um, I'm going to just show you one thing real quick as friends and family that I was mentioning. This is the sharing, how I could go, for example, to my mom's account, and I only share with like people that I'm close with. This isn't social media, but I could go, like, for example, this is my mom's account. Like, here's all of our family recipes. So this just might give you some more ideas. So this is my great grandmother's recipes. Okay. And I could just come here to make her banana bread recipe. Okay. So you can see how neat it is and how great it is for sharing. Or I could go to her, my grandmother's recipes. And then if I found one that I wanted, or this, let's pretend like this is a photo too. It could be a photo, but since it's a recipe, I could copy it right to my library with this button up at the top and copy that into my library so I could have it. The other thing I want to show you, so that's family recipes. Let's just say, for example, I want to look at pictures of my grandmother. So this is my mom's parents. So here's my grandmother, and here are photos of her. So I could come in and say, oh, I want to look at this photo. So I just click on it. And I want to show you the information on the right-hand side. This is called the metadata. So you're able to write the story that goes along with the photo and put in the date and any other information. You can see my mom needs to update that date, but you can see that like it's been tagged and the description is there. And then I can go through and just look at one photo after the next and see how that information changes. And I can copy that to my library as well. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to show you that and how that works. Now I'm going to take you and just show you what the storage pricing is and how that works. So this is the Forever website. Forever Storage, you don't rent, you just buy one-time payment. We went over what this looks like, but you could come here and learn more. You can bring photos in your account, videos, audio files, or documents. And then here's the pricing. So the person that asked how many photos can you keep in a 10 gigabyte account, here's an approximate number. But it does depend upon the resolution of the photos. So your photos could be very, very small, like I talked about in Facebook, or very, very large if you take it on your camera. So it just depends upon how big your photos are to know exactly, but that gives you an approximate range. So as you can see, there's a sale going on right now. There's a coupon code. So if you did buy your storage, be sure to copy that code and put that in when you check out. You do see that there's two columns. The single payments on the right-hand side. The left-hand side is a payment plan. All that does is break it down over the course of 1 year. If it's somebody doesn't really is not able to put like $300 out right now for a one-time payment, they could do $31 a month for 12 months, then they own that storage. So if you bought 25 gigabytes or 50 gigabytes and you fill that up, then you just come back here and you buy more storage. So you can see for my account, I have 270 gigs. And I will say I have all my family stuff in here, plus business stuff. So it's hard to give an idea. I have some clients that have 500 gigabytes. I have some clients who just have 50 and they've done their whole family. So it just depends on what you have. But you can start small and go big. So that is storage. And then if you have digitizing things, you go to digitize and you simply order a box, and all of it is documented very beautifully for you. You receive your box, and then Forever has a packet in there, a beautiful packet of, let's see if I have one right here. I do. Instructions of what to do with your box, and it's all detailed in here. So they, and the price list and everything. And then they digitize and upload it to your storage account. How pricing works for this, let's say you order a medium box. Right now with the sale, it costs you $200. Okay, but you're getting $249 worth of conversion. Okay, and then there is a shipping charge, a 3-way shipping charge that would be added as well. And then whatever's inside of your box, you write all of that down, you get a price, you deduct $249 from it because that's your credit. And then if there's an additional charge, like you've gone over the 249, they'll let you know, you pay that, and then they digitize it all and upload it to your account.
Shelley, I know back in the fall, we were talking about the Hawaii shipping, and I think you guys had made some special arrangements for us, but I can't remember where we left off on that. Do you have an update on that?
That's a great question, but I don't remember where we left off on that. But I do know that they made special arrangements for Hawaii. I think it's just maybe that it's the same shipping cost as it was for anyone else, and it's through FedEx, and FedEx is extremely safe. I know with you guys are going over the water, but here, and I'm sure there too, FedEx takes a photo every time that box turns, and they have the photo. So things just don't get lost these days with the way that logistics are with FedEx is amazing. So it's very, very safe.
Great. And I will say I did have a client using a previous service before. She ended up sending it through USPS. It got lost. It was in New Jersey. Thankfully, the vendor in New Jersey was able to track it down through her contact at USPS, but it was a real pain. So definitely let's stick with FedEx or UPS. Some follow-up questions. During the training series, will we go through different ways to upload and what Shelley recommends? I'm interested in using it in a similar way where I'd only bring in the best photos into Forever and keep my iPhone organization.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I think she's referring to the phone app. And yes, I have a workflow that I teach people to just bring their favorites in. So if you can, in fact, if you're coming to the class, you can go ahead and get started favoriting your photos now on your camera roll. So when you're on your camera roll, each photo there's a heart at the bottom if you're on an iPhone. And if you just click that heart, it shades it in. If you just start favoriting the ones that you're going to want to bring into Forever, I'm going to show you how it's very easy just to grab your favorites.
Another question, do we get the box back with the original photos?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I didn't finish that, but yes, then the box comes back and then you have all of your originals and you have them there. And then you also have them in your Forever storage account. Yes.
I'm also going to be sending, many of you already, when you registered, I sent you a follow-up email letting you know that I was inviting you to your free 2 gigabyte Forever account. Some of you confirmed and signed up for that account. Some of you did not. So I'm going to resend to everyone that invite. So you'll get an invite from me shortly for that.
Awesome. And I just have to say, I hope that you'll want me to come teach live. I mean, come on, a business trip to Hawaii. My kids are like, why can't we go? So the best thing would be if I got to meet you one day.
And Shelley and I, we've done a lot of work together on Zoom over the last year and a half or so. And one of the things that we've talked about actually is there are some photo organizers that have had kind of like a photo retreat. And so I'm kind of holding that loosely in the back of my mind of doing some sort of thing out in Ko'olina or the North Shore and having like a weekend where we do a photo intensive. You can, it'll be a staycation, so you can physically take your physical photos if that's what you want to do, or take your laptop or whatever. And we do an actual weekend. That's down the road, but that'll help us to bring Shelley out here. So keep in mind for that.
Yay! That'd be great.
So any other questions before we wrap up? Okay, closing thoughts, Shelley? Oh, wait, one more question. Just a thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Aw, that's nice of you. I'm so glad that I was with you guys today. It was really nice to get to talk to you all. I appreciate you hanging with me for an hour and 15 minutes. That's not easy to do, especially when it's sunny outside, right?
So hopefully we'll see every single one of you back on the 13th. Once again, 9 a.m. here, Hawaii time. I put the link in the chat in the follow-up email. I will also put the link. I will also link to that thing that Shelley referenced. We're getting a lot of thank yous from people and they learned a lot. So we're so appreciative, and I'm really excited to get my photos organized along with you guys too. So even though I'm organizing other people's photos, I'm not necessarily super organized in that area myself. So.
And you know what, Nancy, what we should do upon registration, I call it the photo fire drill list. We'll send that out when they register. That way you guys can begin working on gathering your things and thinking about where your things are. So when we start the class, you'll already kind of be one step ahead of the game.
And that's actually the reason too, why I wanted to stagger this a little bit. So it's It's not happening for 2 weeks. That gives you a chance to do that collecting like Shelley was talking about, and just kind of, get started doing that sort of pre-work before we just take off on the 13th.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Okay, and one more chat. I think, yep, just a mahalo. So Shelley, mahalo means thank you. In case you didn't know.
That's awesome. I did not know that. Mahalo.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, so awesome, you guys. This was a really great class. Shelley, thank you for your wisdom and always just, making it not so scary and overwhelming. And one final reminder, I sent you folks the link to the on Aloha Organizers page where you can register for the site. Register for the series. What you will do is you will register, well, you will first pay, and it's $29 right now. On Monday, it will be $39, but it's $29 right now. After you pay, and that's cleared through PayPal, then you will get taken to the site of Zoom where you can actually put in your registration information. So there's kind of 2 steps. You want to make sure you do that. If you have any questions, just reach out to me and I'll get you sorted.
Awesome.
Okay. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.